Welcome back to Jimmy de Ville's Garage, episode 9 of the Barn Find Fergie project. In this episode, you better brace yourselves because Gav and I are taking a first look inside the gearbox and goodness knows what we're about to find. So far, Gav and I have focused our efforts on this old beast of the field's beating heart. Its conrods, its crank, its pistons. But now it's time for us to wander from this path and find out what other joys this old tractor has in store for us. No doubt there'll be more hurdles to jump and challenges to overcome, all part of the journey that this tractor has in store for us.
So the first job today for Jimmy and me is to put on the new pulley, the rusted down fan and then the engine breather.
You know what, Gav? I'm really pleased that we decided to rust up the fan and the engine breather because I think they look really, really good. A little bit controversial, but I just think they work on this build.
Yeah, they really fit in, don't they, with the rest of the engine? Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Seen any more rusty parts recently we need to worry about?
Yes, rusty parts, mate. Talking of rusty parts, look at this absolute brute.
Oil filter housing.
Oh dear.
And looking at that old oil filter that's come out of that, this thing probably has never had an oil change, but that's corroded away, right?
Yeah, there's a hole. I can put my finger right through that. Yeah. So,
but Gav, do not fear because I got on the old internet and I ordered us an old new one. So this one's going to be solid and I have no worries, it will fit straight on.
Well, that was great, mate, but I've had a look at it and guess what?
What?
It don't fit.
Why? Why doesn't it fit? Why does nothing fit?
Nothing fits on this tractor, does it? It was too big, so I've had to take it away and do a bit of modification.
Well, I'll tell you what, shall I have a little look at you doing those mods?
Yeah, go on in.
Here we go. If you know why this oil filter housing is longer than our one, we'd love to hear in the comment section down below. Gav's bandsaw slices through the new container like a hot knife through butter.
I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't wear no greasy clothes.
After a quick going over on the belt sander, the two containers are now a matching size. The bolt from the old container is heavily corroded, so Gav's plan is to use the new bolt and make a matching component. Don't forget that washer, Gav.
I don't spit and I don't chew and I don't mess with the boys that do.
After cutting the new bolt down, it's time to get it on the lathe and get a matching thread cut. doesn't matter how many times you do it, cutting a new thread on a shaft is always one of the joys of engineering.
Don't believe a word I say.
Can I just say, Gav, it does look like you have a lovely little time tinkering away there in your old
Oh
workshop.
yeah, love it, mate. Yeah.
I have no idea why that one I bought was the wrong size.
No.
But right size now?
Yeah, nipped a bit off the end. Made another, well, I shortened the original bolt. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's the right length now, so hopefully, mate. Bob's your uncle.
Fanny's your aunt.
That's the
I believe
one.
that's the same. Well, if Fanny is my aunt, we better get that and bolted onto this engine.
Yeah.
Should we get on with it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, and I did rust it down as well.
I'm glad you got that in. Here we go now.
A spring assembly located in the bottom of the container helps to keep the new filter pressed firmly against the housing. On with the new gasket, and this oil filter is going on ground. I really think that Gav's rusty touch really helps the new oil filter container match the engine. But if you don't agree, please let us know in the comments section down below. If you're enjoying the episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Brand new oil filter and housing back on the engine, Gav.
Yeah, looking good.
Lovely job. And I also noticed that you slipped in the old dipstick there.
Yeah, I thought, it's just one of the little bits you like to put in. She's a bit sloppy in the hole, but that's the way it goes.
These things happen. I can't help noticing though, we still haven't got the sun back on the engine and you've gone in with the dipstick.
Yes, so don't go putting any oil in yet, mate.
I think that was a bit of a premature dipsticking. Anyway, next thing's next. We're moving this way down the tractor because we're actually going to be looking inside this gearbox, and to do that we're going to be taking off the steering assembly kind of stack. And that's because before we start building up the throttle assembly, which we're going to start to do next, we want to make sure that everything in there is looking sound so we don't have to whip it off at a later date.
Yeah, that is right.
I'm getting my words spat out eventually. Do we need to say more about that, or should we just start undoing those big old bolts?
We just got to get them big old bolts out, haven't we?
Right then, in the words of Gav, we just got to get them big old bolts out. Here we go.
You came to town just to make trouble, hopping around from bed to bed. You got no friends left in this place.
We're doubly pleased to report that for the first time in this restoration, these big old bolts came out without a fight.
You got brains and you got nerve. You got the body of an angel. You got the face that you deserve.
As every bolt comes out, Gav and I's worries about what we might be about to discover underneath them keeps growing.
Nobody knows just where you came from or where you get.
The steering box seems to be freeing off nice and easily. Here goes nothing.
Nothing. You spend your nights doing the streets. You got a truck full of greenbacks. You got brains and you got.
All good, chap?
Yeah.
Right, come on and come over to the gearbox of potential doom.
You're not letting me look in there.
I'm not letting you look in there because the last time we looked inside something it was that engine, and what we saw was detritus heaven.
Yeah.
So we're about to find out what's inside this gearbox, and fingers crossed.
Come on. The suspense is killing me.
Right, have a little peer inside there.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful clean paint.
Paint.
That is looking
Oil.
a lot more of a shiny place. I mean, that oil at the bottom even looks oily.
Clean metal.
Yeah.
May I?
What, have a little finger? Right, go on. I'll put my hands up while you're doing that. Nothing happening here, officer.
Gears are moving, mate.
Gears are moving. So, free, come on. Gear selector.
Oh, Well, what
it's
can I
not
say?
looking like anything nasty has been inside there.
That looks remarkably good.
Shall I even have a little finger of the
Go
oil?
on, give it a go.
Oh, it even feels oily. Look at that. as slippery as an eel. Have a sniff.
Bit stinky, mate.
Stinky finger. I've got the stinky finger. Where's a rag? Is there a rag anywhere? There's no rag in it. Oh, there's a rag up here. Right, well, that's looking pretty good. I mean, that doesn't look like it needs a lot more than this gasket taken off.
Yeah.
And the steering box putting back on there.
Well, we'll drop that oil anyway.
Yeah.
We know what nasties are underneath that oil, a load of water, so we'll drop it and give it a good clean.
We can make sure it's all clean, but I think all we need to do is drop the oil, make sure it's clean, and then new gasket on the top here, and get the steering column back on. Gearbox is looking all right.
Yeah.
Like we might not need to tamper with it, so
happy with that.
Happy with that. It doesn't mean we haven't missed something massive and it isn't going to completely explode on us, but from what we can see, we're happy. Right, come on then, Gav. Let's drop that oil.
Yeah.
The gearbox plug is fairly corroded away and decides to battle with us just a little bit before sharing its contents.
Oh, she's gone. It's gone. Yeah, it's gone.
It's time to see what's trapped within. Clearly there is some water beneath the oil, and I don't even want to say what that looks like. But in the main, it's oil, and things are looking good. It's time to remove the old gasket and give everything a good cleaning up.
This 9-pound hammer, tears down heavy. It ain't gonna kill me, Lord. It ain't gonna kill me. Oh, no, that. Roll on, buddy. Roll on, buddy. You roll so slow. I roll so slow. Buddy, how can you roll? When the wheels don't go. Buddy, when I'm gone, won't you make my tunes go? Have another night cold. Have another night cold. Except when I'm gone, won't you make my tunes go?
New gasket on and the steering box is going back into place. Things are looking good.
There ain't one hammer down in this town that can ring like mine, that can ring like mine.
Right, so I'm just sticking the last bolt in this gearbox cover here, and that was a massive relief that all we found in there was a little bit of water. So we've given her a good clean up, put a new gasket on, we've got the lid back on. Well happy with that.
Gavin. It'd be fair to say that opening this up and looking inside the gearbox is now a massive weight off our shoulders, because we could have found in there a nest of abhorrent hell.
Huge relief, mate. Huge relief.
Because what we actually found was a pretty sound looking gearbox. Everything moves, everything looks pretty clean, and all we need to do is drop out the old oil. We're going to leave that empty until we're ready to put in new oil, but apart from that, we put a new gasket on, bolted the steering box back on, and everything is looking well.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, it's time to look at this throttle linkage, isn't it?
Throttle linkage, because the last time we saw this throttle linkage, it was stinky, stinky, stinky. Look at it. It wasn't really a linkage at all.
Seized, broken, snapped, corroded.
Yeah. So, I do believe, Gavin, you took those bits home
Yeah.
in your quiet, lonely time
Yeah.
and managed to knock something out.
I knocked something out in the shed, mate.
Well, shall we have a good old look at what you got up to?
Yeah, have a look.
All right, here we go.
Our plan is to do a little bit of a cut and shut on this throttle linkage. We want to save as much of it as we can, but make some new parts so it works again.
Got in a little trouble.
Gav's straight back on his Colchester lathe again, and you can't help but love the way it purrs.
When the judge said guilty, he made his point.
parts starting to come together, it's definitely time to amputate the rods.
Time to chase you, 'cause I'm a busy man.
It takes me right back to the Middle Ages. One thing's for sure, I'm glad Gav isn't a surgeon.
Found a telephone number on a laundry slip. Had a good-hearted jailer with a six-gun hip. He let me call long distance. She said, "Number, please." Just as soon as I told her, she shouted back at me. She said, "That'll be cash on the barrelhead."
It's definitely time to bring out the big guns. If you want things looking right, you're going to need yourselves a plasma cutter.
No credit line. A little bird tells me you're the traveling kind.
This perfect part just needs a couple of holes drilling in it, and then the final assembly can be welded together.
4 days on the road, I was feeling mighty hungry.
Are you sure you weren't in the Navy, Gav? Aye aye.
Stuck out with my thumb. Just as soon as I was seated, the driver caught my arm. Said, "That'll be cash on the barrelhead, huh? They're so great, dog gets paid to run. When the engine starts, what the wheels do roll. Give me cash on the barrelhead, I'll take it down the road."
That's the beautiful throttle lever, repaired, rectified and ready for action.
Right, come on then, Gav, let's get this throttle assembly in.
Right, let's go.
Which bit first, top or bottom?
Well, we've got to sort of thread the top bit in.
Thread the top in first, okay. I'm going to get a bit of grease in the bush. You've got to grease the bush. Yeah. Get
Get it in between the steering wheel. That's it. Right. Alright. You might have to hold that up for me, mate. Why?
What am I holding up?
The spring washer. Right. So that's good.
Up there. Yeah.
Right. In.
Wind up.
Bit tricky this one.
Yeah.
Just the job.
Just for extra fun.
Ooh, now that is nice. Much better than that rusty mess. Brilliant.
That's a new quarter UNF ball joint going on, which was purchased online for just a few pounds.
My heart is broken till I get some ease.
Gav,
Yes, mate.
before we get going, having a little chat, are there any ice creams you need to be telling about that you bumped into at all this week?
Well, apart from the one you gave me at dinner time, mate, that posh one.
That was a special thing. Almonds on the outside, lovely milk chocolate, and those little vanilla pod bits on the inside.
That's how the other half live, I tell you.
Swanky, swanky, nothing but the best. Yes, indeed. Anyway, that was a bit of a celebration because today, this episode has been quite a lot of successes. I mean, this throttle, it's just a pleasure to feel that moving smoothly yet again. We still do need to make the linkage bits to connect it all back up, but that'll happen in another episode. Any other successes this week?
This gearbox, mate, massive relief.
Massive relief. That could have been a nest of hell, but it wasn't, was it?
No, she's looking good in there.
She really is looking clean and tidy. We've given it a good rinse out and we couldn't see anything wrong. So fingers crossed it is as good as it looks. I have actually got an incy-wincy surprise for you.
Here we go.
Yeah, well, I was touched the other week because you, with your own money, bought me a little present. It was the auxiliary fuel tank. And you also know that I was looking at those small model Fergusons, and you know, I heard that you sort of want. Well, I thought I'd do one better than that, Gav. So I've got you this, a little treat, something I know you've been dreaming about.
Well, they don't look like one of them Fergie ones.
Well, it's better than that, trust me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Look at that.
Mate.
Your very own bit of a real Fergie tractor.
Oh, lovely.
Look at that on there, the crowning glory.
Can't wait to see her chuffing out the top of that.
She'll be chuffing before you know it. Anyway, listen, sadly that is the end of this episode. If you liked anything you've seen or you've got any questions or queries for Gav and I, please leave them in the comments section down below. Also, please share our episodes with your friends. We'd love to grow this community. Also, hit that almighty subscribe button in the sky and remember to tick the little bell icon so you'll know the next time we release an episode. From Gav and from I, happy chuffing, and we'll catch you later. Here we go. You ready?
I am ready.
He's the finest thing you ever.
80s cartoons, childhood, Sunday morning.
I don't know if it's Sunday morning, but Catch the Pigeon. Absolute brilliant. Isn't it?
Call on me if you need a little help.
Slam him, bam him.
Find myself. Well, I
Flying machines, weren't there? With Clunk and all the rest of it, where they were trying to catch the pigeon. That was awesome, that was my favourite.
he's gonna buy me a diamond ring.
Oh, I tell you, a cartoon, well, it was a weird cartoon, was old Terrorhawks. Now that was mad, wasn't it? Do you remember that? That was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Help me, daddy, help me, daddy.
That was nasty, mate.
He calls me.
Toy Story, Duke Kaboom. He's a legend, old Duke Kaboom, isn't he? He can ride a bike.
Do you need any help? No help. Call on me if you need